You're listening to the Cat Breeder Sensei Says podcast. I'm your show host, April Catito, and we're doing another trigger warning episode. We love these, and we've got a whole list of topics that we're going to be doing. I'm here with my co-host today, Marche.
Hey.
Hi. So we said after we did a trigger warning podcast episode that we were going to just review some of the comments that we got in our group from our members after they listened to the show, just to see, number one, what kind of feedback you guys feel, how you guys feel about these hot topics, these triggering topics that are out there in cat breeder world. And number two, we wanted to see how hard we triggered y'all. And I don't think we triggered y'all hard enough, because there really wasn't. It was a very positive response to our podcast episode. Everybody was kind of in agreement. The last podcast show was about breeding your queens back to back. So if you did not listen to that podcast episode, you can go wherever you listen to podcast and download it. It's the episode right before this one. Or you can go to our website, catbreedersensei.com, and look for the podcast episode. It's called Trigger Warning, Breeding Your Queens Back to Back. So you can see what we're talking about here. But the general response, we're going to read some of the comments that we got in our group from our members. And also, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's called the No Judgment Zone Pedigree Cat Breeder Community. We don't allow any cat hags in there whatsoever. Everybody can talk freely as long as you're not a cat hag. And if you need a definition of a cat hag is a cat breeder who fits one or all of these characteristics. They can't mind their own business. They're always sticking their nose in other breeders' business. They think their way is the only way. They think you're evil if you make money as a breeder. They try to instill fear in new breeders. They gossip about other breeders. They don't want to share their knowledge. Those are just a few characteristics. We could probably come up with more, but you get the picture. So here's some of the comments that we got from the last trigger warning episode, Breeding Queens Back to Back. And if you want to join in on the comments, again, just come join our group, and we post a podcast in there once they're published. So someone said, I've always thought waiting long periods of time was stupid. What are we waiting for? Pyometra? I breed my queens each individually, and they tell me when they're ready. Love the podcast.
I think that was the consensus for most people, is that they breed based on what each individual queen needs. But I thought that comment was interesting, where she says, there's a study with dogs that shows back-to-back breedings and earlier space decreases the risk of certain cancers.
Oh yeah, I've read that too.
I didn't know about that.
Dogs, yeah. I don't know if it applies to cats, but if someone knows, that would certainly be interesting. I've read that before. And then she also added, nothing makes me more grossed out than when breeders try to police each other and keep track of one another's litters. That is a cat hag. That's what a cat hag is.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They're too worried about when you bred your cat last. And we talked about in the episode when I decided not to breed one of my cats because I was afraid the cat hags were going to attack me. And now I just don't care anymore. Let's find another good.
Someone said, as someone with a bio degree, I'm all about listening to our bodies logically and scientifically. I think it makes sense for us to listen to our cats' bodies. Mm-hmm. Every human, every cat is different.
Oh, I like this one. She said, I have done back-to-back breeding twice. Accidentally, but no issues. Similar sized litters, babies and moms were fine. I love that comment because I have, since I've been breeding cats, I've kind of developed this mindset that I don't believe any of this hype. I don't believe anything that any of these breeders say. I actually have to test it myself and see what happens, So I like that comment because that's kind of goes with that theory. Like, yeah. They say that you can't breed them back to back, that the mom will get sick and get skinny and all this. Well, I'll try it and I'll see for myself. And that's how I've actually discovered so many times that they're full of shit, dude. They're lying.
Yeah.
They make this stuff
think they run this joint.
Yeah, they don't run nothing.
I like that comment too. Someone said, my vet agrees with the back-to-back breeding mindset only if the queens have proper nutrition throughout. It varies from queen to queen. I have queens that eat well and cycle mildly. Then I have queens that go crazy and refuse to eat with copulation on their minds.
Great podcast, she said. By the way, thank you guys for your support of our podcast. We have fun doing it, and as long as we're helping y'all and giving you some confidence, then that's really our goal with this, is to really spread awareness about the freaking lies. That's what the trigger warning series is, like the hype that goes.
The lies and the manipulation of what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing.
In the mind control that the cat hags have over new breeders.
Yeah.
And even
experienced people.
breeders. They have mind control. It's a giant mind fuck that they love to do on us. Okay, so enough of the comments. The general consensus is that
varies from queen to queen.
Yep.
Just, your queen the best.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we're gonna get into our new trigger warning episode, which is really gonna trigger.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good one.
Oh, it's gonna trigger the cat hags so hard, y'all. But we'll get into it right after this.
Do you want to learn how to become a successful breeder of pedigree cats? Now you can. For the first time ever, enroll in an online training course that takes you step by step through everything you need to know to get on the right track. Visit catbreedersensei.com to sign up today and use code podcast21 to get $25 off.
Okay, this is for all the Maine Coon breeders specifically. And I know that there are other breeds that have some challenges just like this. Mm-hmm. I had coffee with a local breeder, and she was telling me she breeds ragdolls, that she breeds mink, the color.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this because it's not my breed. But,
right, me either.
She was telling me a story that she has mink kittens, and some rando cat hag started messaging her and leaving negative reviews all over her social media.
Wow, sounds about right.
Because she was breeding this color.
Yeah.
And she said, I love this color.
Yeah.
Like, I want to breed minks. I love them, and that my buyers love them, and I'm not going to stop, she said. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, and you know what? People leave negative reviews on your social media or your Google or whatever. Cat hags, I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
Cat hags will leave negative reviews, which is so messed up, first of all.
It is.
But second of all, those reviews don't matter. Really, in the long run, you're not worried about what those people are saying. You're worried about making the impression on your buyer.
Yeah.
And honestly, you shouldn't be relying on Google reviews. You should be relying on your own website reviews and what your buyers are actually saying about you, because they get on Facebook groups too.
Yeah, they do.
Your buyers.
They
do. People are always like, well, have you bought from this cattery? And they say positive things, and your buyers, they don't care about those. They don't care about that stuff, which is kind of the point in Blue Eyes as well, is that
buyers don't care.
Buyers don't care if the cat should have blue eyes or not, and they don't care if it should be mink or not.
Let's get into it. Let's get into this. Oh, I've got something to add that is very important to this. We're going to save it. I don't know. I took a survey. It was not really related to Blue Eyes, but I took a survey on the website. I added it that said, I'm talking about price and how much you're willing to pay for a kitten, and what is a budget, and what is fair and reasonable, and are Maine Coons expensive? And most importantly, I asked them, what are you willing to pay more money for?
Yeah.
And we're going to give you the results here at the end of this podcast.
Oh my
because
gosh. I don't even know. I'm excited.
It has to do with things like Blue Eyes and, let's just say like polydactyl and shaded coats and stuff like that. So anyway, interesting. But, okay, so little backstory before we get into like the different points of views. One of our very good friends who's a breeder, she breeds Blue Eyes. We're talking like Marche and I, one of our good friends. She breeds Blue Eyes. And I remember when she started, And it's kind of when it all hit the scene. Like,
Yeah.
Blue Eyes hit the dominant Blue Eyes, hit the scene, the Maine Coon
Yeah.
scene. We're like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And at first, nobody had their panties in a wad.
Yeah.
Not at first.
Mm-hmm.
Took them a minute. It hit them
Yeah.
that these people were going against the grain. They were walking in the opposite direction of the herd, and they did not like it.
Yeah.
How could they control what was happening with these dominant Blue Eyes on the scene? And I remember the narrative was that they weren't real. They
Maine
weren't real
Coons.
Maine Coons. They were crossbred. They were bred with a moggy, or how they
Yeah.
didn't know how they got them. And luckily, our friend, she didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, I talked to her about it at great length in the beginning, because she was getting nasty messages, just like the girl I met for
Yeah.
coffee. They were tearing her a new ass.
Yeah.
Talking about these Blue Eyes and telling her these are people she didn't even know.
Yeah.
She don't know these people. They're coming out of the woodwork. Americans, mind you. They're all Americans. I don't think Europeans do this too much. I'm sure some do, but it was all Americans. Telling her she was a backyard breeder. And,
Wow.
you know, just basically.
Aren't we all backyard breeders?
Yeah, I got cats
Don't
in my
we
backyard.
all breed out of our backyard? Most of us.
That's another trigger warning episode. That's what I always say. I'm like, well, yeah, I do have cats in my backyard. Does that make me a backyard breeder? Whatever backyard breeder means, that triggers me. that phrase triggers me. Anyway, they were telling her she's basically a piece of garbage breeder because she had these colors. And that was about the same time you and I were like, damn, we kind of want, we kind of like that color, Blue Eyes. And because of the negative stigma that was attached to it,
We fought it.
we did. We didn't do it
Yeah.
because we didn't want to be the bad guy.
Well, I was all for the Blue Eyes.
Yes.
And it took a lot of convincing
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of discussion between you and me.
Yeah.
Because April was not, she didn't want to breed Blue Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why? Like, tell me your reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good for this podcast because we have reasons why we would and why we wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then I was like, if you just get one.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, if you decide this doesn't feel right, get rid of her.
Yeah.
Get rid of the blue-eyed producer. And it took a long time to convince you.
Years.
And we finally have one blue-eyed.
Yep. Years. It took years. We talked about this for years. And the only thing that was in my head was everybody else.
Yeah.
Making me think that
You
I shouldn't do
it.
it, and that if I did, I was garbage.
Yeah, or you'd end your career.
That
was it.
Or I was ruining the breed.
Yeah.
I was going to ruin them. Well, some points about the supporters of dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons. And if you're new to dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons, which you very well could be if you're listening to the podcast and you don't know what we're talking about, there is a true blue-eyed Maine Coon, which happens in solid white Maine Coons. They can have blue eyes. And then there's blue eyes that can happen if the Maine Coon has a lot of white, let's say 50% or more. A bicolor can truly have blue eyes or odd eyes, and it's not very common. You don't see them very often, and they're quite stunning. Then there's dominant blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That happens when they can have blue eyes no matter what color they are.
As long as they have some kind of white, that's even if it's just like a dot, they can have blue eyes.
It can, and I'm actually starting to see some blue eyes that don't have any white.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Or maybe they do, we just can't see it. It could be a locket on their stomach, or, you know, the ones we had little white tips on their tail, that's one of the characteristics, which is interesting. But that's kind of just the summary of what we're talking about here, these dominant blue eyes. They're not native.
Yeah.
They're not native. So
or are they?
Right. We're not going to get into the origin of them in this podcast because it'd be an hour.
Yeah.
We could go on talking, but
We could summarize.
Yeah, but it started with a cat named Elvis. So if you just Google Elvis, the blue-eyed Maine Coon, you will definitely unfold the mystery of where these came from, and you'll see the breeder says it was a genetic mutation. It came spontaneously, and then she had no idea that this cat was going to end up with dominant blue eyes, and that's how it started.
And then other people say that it started by outbreeding.
Yeah, mixing.
To a breed that I can't remember what the...
Topaz. It's a black cat with blue eyes.
And they only have blue eyes, so people think that either it came from Elvis or it came from this other breed that's not a Maine Coon that was bred to a Maine Coon that then gave that Maine Coon the dominant blue-eyed gene.
Yeah, there's a very rich article on the Messy Beast website. If you go look it up, they have pedigrees and everything, like all of the history and origin of the dominant blue eyes. So if you want to go find out what we're talking about, that's it. And it's new. So this is a new thing.
Yeah, last couple of years.
Yeah, probably 5 years, I'm guessing. I'm kind of roughly estimating. So the issue that people have, maybe we should cover that, is that it's not native to the Maine Coon. They don't think it's natural.
And that it's not breed standard.
And that's the problem. Well, there's lots of problems. But that's the one they're using right now because Tika updated their breed standard and they do not allow dominant blue eyes. They do not allow that. I even saw one new update from Fife, which is the Federal Cat Association, Federal Feline, that they were going to start DNA testing for the blue eyes, because the Maine Coons can have blue eyes, they just can't be this dominant, particular gene that causes it, and if they have that, then they are disqualified.
Wow.
So, because it might be hard to determine if they're really dominant blue-eyed or if they're the naturally occurring without testing to see if they have it. These are the points of people that support dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons.
I think that I have a strong opinion about this. I think, personally, that using the argument that you shouldn't breed blue eyes because it's not breed standard is outdated, and that breeds are ever changing, and I think in a way it's the responsibility of a breeder to determine what characteristics a breed has. So you're relying on Tika to give you the breed standard, but how many breeders breed blue eyes now?
Oh, lots.
So what is to say that that's not what the standard should be?
Right.
Because breeders like it. We breed cats, pedigree cats, to have traits that we like. Do we not?
We do.
We breed Persians, and we like their flat faces. And we breed ragdolls because, I don't know, they're big
floppy.
and floppy, and they have cute personalities. And then we breed Scottish folds because we like their folded ears.
Yep.
So what's to say that we shouldn't add...
It's controversial.
Yeah, it is.
I bet when the first Scottish fold came on scene with his folded ears and the cartilage was folded, they had a hissy fit.
You know where Scottish folds originated from?
Where?
A Moggy. It was a Moggy that had folded ears. That's where they started.
Wow.
It was a naturally occurring genetic mutation.
Yeah.
And they kept breeding it.
Right.
Isn't that weird? So we can accept that, but we can't accept blue eyes in Maine Coons.
Yeah.
Because the standard's already written. But the standard can change.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, all of these breeders want the standard changed because they're all breeding blue eyes.
They love them, and the people the buyers love them too.
So what is the issue?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
And I don't feel like you can use health as an issue. Because, first of all, is there really a health issue that comes with
dominant
blue-eyed Maine Coons?
Potentially, and we'll get to that in the opposing side. That's on the opposing side.
I'm just saying, there is with Scottish folds. They have
cartilage.
Arthritis.
Right.
And that is painful for them.
Yeah.
And that's well known.
Yeah.
And people breed them anyways.
They do. And it's accepted as breed standard.
It is.
So what I think about breed standard because I researched this in the last 5 years when we were going back and forth. You know,
Yeah.
like, I want everybody who's listening to this, I swear, to go look. There's a video on YouTube about the Persian cat and how it has changed since I think it's 1960.
Yeah. They used to have normal faces, right?
It is absolutely mind-blowing.
It looked like a normal.
It looked like a
long-haired
cute little
cat.
fancy feast cat. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it had a little doll face, and, you know, now they call them something different. Those are doll face Persians, I think. And now the Persian now does not look like it did.
They're all squished in, and they have the folds, and
Yeah,
those have issues too.
they do.
Like known issues.
They do.
have
Breathing
breathing
issues.
and they have tear duct issues. Constantly have
Yeah.
those tear stains because
Yeah.
their eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, and guess what? The flatter the face, the
The better the cat.
the more ribbons they win. Well, this is where the challenge is right now with the blue eyes is that, well, we all know that people don't like change. They hate it.
Yeah.
They resist it. They hate it. They fight it. They don't want anything to change. Well, there's only one thing that is consistent in life, and that's change.
Yeah.
And everybody
Amen.
changes. Everybody changes. Everything changes. Every scenario, everything is constantly changing. Everything is, including breeds of cats.
Everything.
They change. And my opinion on this, which I don't really like to offer opinion on the trigger warning, but I'm going to, is that I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that eventually the breed standard will change. And dominant blue eyes will be allowed in the Maine Coon cat.
I agree with that.
That's what I think. I don't know how long
yeah.
it will take. I mean, they're kicking and fighting right now.
Yeah.
And everybody online is freaking arguing about it and fighting about, of course, because they fight about everything. But you know, people that act like that they look ridiculous to me. To argue about something like that, but I understand that you want to preserve the breed standard. That's still on the opposing side, so we'll get to that too. But I think that it will change
I agree.
in a few years. It may take 5 years. It might take 10
could
years.
be 10 years. We don't know.
I don't know, but
If the trends keep going the way that they are going, they have to.
yeah, I don't know how you get something changed in the breed standard. I have no idea because I don't show my cats and I've never tried to change anything. But I would think maybe you need a committee or something of people that fight to get a change made. But
Yeah, I don't know.
you know, these judges, I don't know if they're for it or against it. I have no idea. I would assume they're against it because they're judges, but maybe secretly they're like, damn,
I know some of them
that's
are.
a pretty ass cat.
Yeah. Because blue eyes is a very striking feature.
It is. Now, the problem I have with it is that this is a kind of on the opposing side, but it's probably not everybody's problem with it, is I am a profile Nazi. I like very, very good profiles, and I just will not accept anything less than what's perfect in my eyes. And the blue-eyed cat that I had did not have a good profile, and that's why I didn't keep her or any of her kittens. Was not because of her blue eyes. I thought the eyes were stunning. When I looked at them, they're very breathtaking. But I just didn't like their profile, so I did not retire her because of her blue eyes or the kittens. It was her profile was just not up to. If she'd had like a kick-ass profile with this nice strong chin and a smooth nose and a nice forehead and big muzzle and big ear, I would have kept an offspring, but it didn't work out that way. And I'm not opposed to getting another one because they're very beautiful, and people went absolutely crazy over the blue-eyed Maine Coons, just berserk.
yeah.
They went berserk.
Buyers like blue eyes.
They do.
And buyers don't know that they're not supposed to have blue eyes.
That's
don't know
right.
that.
They don't know, and they do not care.
No, they don't, which is what I was saying earlier. They don't care, and they never will.
But it is the breeder's responsibility to maintain the integrity of the breed. I get that. It's our responsibility. It's our job. That's
Yeah.
what we do. We're protecting them, and we're not out mixing them with street cats.
No.
And
I want to go back to a point that you said earlier, that you didn't keep your blue-eyed queen because of her profile.
yeah.
That it wasn't up to your standard.
Yes.
But I think that the breed standard can be interpreted differently by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to breed blue eyes, and lots of other people decided to breed blue eyes. And people decided to breed Maine Coons that have a ginormous nose bumps.
Oh ho ho! Somebody just got hit in the gut. They got a bunch of people just got hit in the gut. Oh, let's talk about that. Oh, girl, I forgot about this point. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, attention, cat hags. If you are upset about anybody that's breeding dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons, I want you to go look at the profile of all of your cats and turn them to the side, baby, and look at their nose. Tell me if they got a big old giant hook
Or their
nose.
chin, if they're got like a Muppet face.
Look at their profile, and I want you to tell me, you triggered me, if they have a nose bump or if they have a recessed chin. If they do, my friend,
That's not breed standard.
that is not breed
You are
standard.
not breeding in breed standard if
Oh.
your Maine Coon has a nose bump or a recessed chin.
Yep.
But you know what?
Nobody.
I'm not saying that you can't breed those cats. That's your business.
That is your
But
business.
why can you breed
Yeah.
nose bumps that's not written in the breed standard?
Well, it's considered a flaw.
You cannot have a nose bump.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have a nose bump on a Maine Coon, and you're not supposed to have a recessed chin.
Yep. The chin, in case y'all know what breed standard says, the chin should be in a straight line from the tip of the nose to the bottom of the chin. Straight line. Straight line only means one thing, and it should be a 90-degree angle at that chin
We'll
bone.
put pictures.
We'll put some pictures up of what the profile of a Maine Coon should look like, and if you're not breeding that, then you're not breeding breed standard. Why doesn't people go crazy over that? Why don't they see a nose bump on a Maine Coon and be like, holy crap, why
Well,
are you doing that?
Some people do, but
Why
not
are
as
you-
crazy as they go over blue eyes.
Right.
Because you're just if your goal is to preserve the integrity of the breed
Yeah.
by going by the breed standard,
Yeah.
then
Which
you're-
is written. You can go find it on the TICO website.
and here you are using this cat that is not breed standard
Yeah.
to breed.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of your point. You can't sit there and say you can't breed blue eyes because it's not written into the breed standard.
Yeah.
And then breed a cat that has a profile that doesn't, or any feature, short legs, short stubby body, short tail.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
should be long and lean. They should have long legs.
Yeah.
They should have.
If you pull his tail up and it don't reach the back of his head at where his neck is, his tail's too short per breed standard, and it's written. I don't know why
mean,
people don't have this.
There's no perfect cat,
Right.
but you can do the best that you can. But people don't. People don't do the best that they can. People don't buy cats that are as close to the breed standard as possible.
Right.
They choose features. They're
They like.
okay,
They
well,
buy
this
what they
one has,
like.
yeah, this one has a really good profile, but his tail's too short.
Right. Because there is no perfect cat.
So what is the difference if I'm like, well, this one has blue eyes?
It's not breed standard, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, here I go.
we all breed what we like.
We absolutely.
in our Maine Coons.
We do.
We pick which cats are in our breeding programs based on what
we
they look like.
If somebody says they don't, they're telling a fibby.
Yeah, nobody's like, ooh, I don't really like that cat's eyes, but that's what the breed standard is, so I'm going to buy it. That's just not what we do. We're like, yeah, this cat is beautiful.
Yeah.
I want this one to be in my breeding program.
And it's an opinion.
It is. It's all an opinion.
It is, because there's lots of people who do not like American
Yeah.
bloodlines, like me. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy an American Maine Coon.
No,
I don't
but-
like them.
But that's your choice.
I took my European Maine Coon to a cat show when I first started out like a dummy, and that's where I discovered that the judges don't like them either. They don't like extreme, quote unquote, extreme features. which are what, I don't know, big muzzles.
Yeah,
Okay,
I guess
well,
that's another topic.
Yeah, this is gonna trigger this. I guess this is the point, right? This is the whole goal.
That's the point.
I get the Tika magazine,
Yeah.
and they have like the pictures of the champions like
Yeah.
in there, and I don't like them.
Yeah.
I look at them like, I don't like that one. That's not what I would buy. I
Yeah.
just, and it's a champion. That's political to me. Like, that's a whole nother. But I don't like them. I don't ever open the Tika magazine. I'm like, oh wow.
You're in shock. Like,
Look-
how'd that one win?
Look how beautiful this cat is.
Yeah.
I'm always like, meh, throw it in the garbage. Okay, so if you oppose dominant blue eyes, which, I wish I knew the ratio. How many breeders are against it versus how many are for it? I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to put a poll on Spotify, and we're going to ask the question. I want you to go right now. Go to Spotify. There's a poll there, and it says, are you against dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons, or are you in favor of? Or just curious. It's anonymous. Nobody will know how you answered. Go answer the poll, and we'll talk about that on our next trigger warning episode. We'll give you the results of the poll. I'm
I'm
that'll
gonna
be
put it
fun.
in the group too.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But I think there's more arguments on the opposing side than there are on the supporting side of dominant blue eyes. Of
Really?
course.
I think it's pretty even.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. On the opposing side. Oh, something we already talked about. Maintaining the breed integrity. Because Maine Coons are a natural breed. But if this blue-eye gene was a genetic mutation, like polydactyl, for example, then why can't we keep
Hold on.
this
Was
going?
polydactyl in the breed standard before? Because it would have had to have started out the same way. It would have had to have started out, somebody had a genetic mutation, a polydactyl, and then they were like, I'm going to keep breeding that, and then, it wasn't in the breed standard.
Yeah.
And then they did add poly into the breed standard.
You want a fun fact?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. This one will blow your mind.
Okay,
Ready?
I can't wait.
Tika has polydactyl category
Yeah.
for the Maine Coons. Okay, they're in a different class. You can't show polydactyls in the same ring as a standard Maine Coon. CFA, it can't even bring one to the show.
The poly?
It's not breed.
You
It's
can't bring a poly?
not allowed.
Wow.
Cannot show a polydactyl in CFA.
Is it in their breed standard?
No.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Cannot show a polydactyl Maine Coon in CFA. So
people-
what is breed standard? Which one's right?
Yeah.
What if CFA allows blue-eyed Maine Coons? Does that mean it's breed standard now? And
I mean, if poly is breed standard, then yeah. Yeah, it is.
yeah, why can't I show my polydactyl Maine Coon in CFA? That's not allowed.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yep. Oh boy. Okay, so here's a good. This is what they say about and this is nuts. They talk about health risks
Yeah.
with dominant blue eyes.
Yeah.
Can anybody out there tell me what the health risks are when you breed a dominant blue-eyed Maine Coon? What are they?
All I know is Waardenburg syndrome.
Is that a health risk?
I only know it as a physical.
Attribute or physical, the way
It
it
would be
looks.
considered a physical deformity.
Yeah, because their eyes are spaced farther
Yeah.
apart than the standard Maine Coon.
Yeah.
Okay. I researched this too.
Okay.
The only health risk that this one's gonna blow your mind.
Okay, I'm ready.
I could be wrong.
not gonna have any
okay?
mind left.
I know. We're about to. Mine is leaking out of your head onto the floor right now. I could be wrong too. I'm definitely no encyclopedia when it comes to this because I people spend way more time on it than I have.
Yeah.
But the only health risk, quote unquote, that I have found so far that can be proven, by the way, I don't want no assumptions, is they can be deaf. Because deafness is linked to blue eyes.
Yeah.
But guess what?
People want deaf cats.
They do want deaf cats, but it's also linked to white cats.
Yeah.
Why don't they have a fucking hissy fit over these solid white cats? They can be deaf and are.
Yeah.
I love solid white.
Yeah.
I've had 2 solid white Maine Coon queens. Love them. I know the risk. Their kittens can be deaf.
And you've had deaf kittens.
Are solid white Maine Coons not breed standard?
No, they are.
Wow. Do they have health risk? Is a deaf kitten a health issue?
I do not believe that a deaf kitten is a health issue. No.
I do not think that's
Just
a health
like
issue
having
either.
being a deaf person is not a health issue.
Right.
That's just the way you were born, baby.
That's right. I do not think a deaf kitten is a health issue. A
No.
health issue is something that affects their life in a negative way.
Yeah.
And when a kitten is born deaf, that's his life.
That's just yeah, and they don't care. They don't know.
Well, we trigger it.
They don't know that they're deaf. They don't even know that there's sound out there.
It's the way they were born. And
Yeah.
that's how they live their life. And
they adapt extremely well.
they do.
Cats.
They adapt the same way. It's the humans that have to adapt,
Yeah.
not the kitten.
Yeah.
They are born that way, and they don't know anything different, so there's not really an adaptation because that's all they've ever known. So, is being deaf a health risk?
No.
No. This is an opinion, I think. I mean, I don't think it's a health risk. Is it going to affect
Their
health?
life? Is it going to affect their health or
Their
life?
well-being and their
No,
happiness?
it's
No,
not.
no, absolutely not. That's humans attaching this emotion to being deaf. Like, they wouldn't want to be deaf, so they wouldn't want their kitten to be deaf. I've had deaf kittens, and they're happy. They go home and hide in the drawer. Nobody can find them. They love it.
And they can't hear them calling
They
for them.
can't hear them calling them, and they don't care. They don't care about that. So, I guess the more research that they do on blue eyes, maybe they'll find something else that is affected by this. But I don't know. I don't think so. There was I saw it came out from something came out, and that's all they were focusing on was the health risks, and all that was mentioned was the cats could be deaf, and that was really linked with Waardenburg syndrome, the deafness, which that is the blue eyes, so they're all linked together. The dominant blue eye gene, the Waardenburg syndrome, and the deafness in the kittens. So those are the health risks, and it is long term.
That's fucking cute.
Yeah, she's cute. We got a cat, a little screw-on bed. It goes on my desk, and it is freaking adorable. It swivels 360 degrees, and she doesn't really have to be on my desk, but she's sitting right here while we do this podcast, and it is adorable. Oh my god! All right, so
This is a long podcast.
it is good topic though. That when we put out our first trigger warning episode, everybody was like, "Oh, I can't wait for the blue-eyed episode," because the breeders that breed blue eyes, they get attacked.
Yeah.
They get harassed. They probably get low-key people messaging them being rude and mean and telling them what pieces of garbage they are. So they were ready for the blue-eyed Maine Coon podcast episode. That's why I was like, we got to do this one next.
Yeah, and when we put it out, I want to know both sides.
Yeah,
I want to
sure.
know people's arguments for why they do and why they don't.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their reason.
I'm definitely not one-sided. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely can see both sides of this coin.
Yeah, I can too. But you have to make the decision for yourself.
Yeah. And
Not based on outside influences, what other people are saying. You have to do your own research and put your own time and your own values and standards into, do I really want to add this to my program, and why should I mean, make a list. Like, why should I and why shouldn't I?
right.
Argue with yourself if you have to come up with a reason why you should or why shouldn't if you're thinking about doing it.
I always say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. You can change it later. You're not stuck with anything.
No, you're not.
We did. We tried the blue eyes, and it lasted one winter, and I don't have it anymore, and we might add it back.
I like it. Yeah.
If I see one with a if anybody has one, blue-eyed, dominant blue-eyed Maine Coon with a really nice profile, hit me up.
Yeah, but what's a nice profile?
I can.
That's the problem.
That's to be determined by the buyer.
Yeah, right. And we're picky.
Very, extremely picky. So if you want to breed dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons, and you're listening to this podcast, you can adopt our theory, and it takes a lot of guts to do that.
Yeah.
And that is, don't worry about what other people think about you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what they say about you. Don't worry about it, because those people really don't matter in your life.
They don't.
They're your cats. It's your cattery. It's your business. And remember, we gave you the definition of what a cat hag is. It's people that cannot mind their own business, and they're always sticking their nose in someone else's business. It's not their business.
It's not.
What we do in our cattery is our fucking business.
Yep.
It's nobody else's. I don't have to answer to anybody other than myself. That's bitch I look at every morning in the mirror. That's it. That's the only person. There's no laws. There's no guidelines about breeding cats. I don't even have to do breed standard if I don't want to. There's no rules that say I have to.
Yeah.
Nothing. There's no governing body that dictates what I do with my cats. How I breed them, what color eyes they have, or if I use a cat with a big, giant, ugly nose bump.
Cats with nose bumps are crying right now.
There's no rules. Dude, it's us. We do whatever we want. We run the show.
Yeah.
This is my circus and my monkeys. And I'll run it however I want to run my circus. And that's how everybody should. You know, there's leaders, though, and then there's followers. And there's some people that just can't fight the demons. And the demons are the cat hags.
Yeah.
That's who they are to me. They're the people that make you feel inferior because of something you're doing, and they're just they're just internet trolls.
Yeah.
They're just keyboard warriors.
There's always people that aren't gonna like what you're doing.
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
You can't live for those people. You can't try to make people happy, because they're never happy, especially cat hags.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do. You could have the most beautiful cat. Breed standard, dude, got ribbons and all across your little cage that you bought to go to the cat. Ribbons for miles.
Yeah.
You have the damnedest, nicest cat in that show this weekend. Every ring, first place.
Yep.
Top 10, champion, or got this weekend. The cat hag still ain't gonna be happy.
I mean, someone's not gonna like it. Us. Us. When it wins first place, we're gonna be like,
that's right. Show me a picture of it and I'll be like, I don't like it. I don't like that cat. I have a friend that takes her cats to shows. She wins. She cleans house, right? And she gets the little professional photos taken, sends them to me. I'm like, I don't like it. She knows I'm going to say that, though. Like, she does. We have that kind of relationship. That she knows I don't like that American look, you know? So she's like, yeah, I know. It's not your type. I'm like, it sure ain't. Just, no, it's not my type. I just don't like it. So, but guess what? I don't give her hell. I don't talk about her cat. I don't care what she's doing.
Yeah.
I could give two shits off a rolling donut what she's doing with her cats and in her cattery. I don't care. It is not my business.
Yeah.
That is her circus, and those are her monkeys.
Yeah.
I do not care. Why do the cat hags care about what I'm doing or anybody else? I don't know. If you're a cat hag and you made it to the end of this podcast, God bless you.
Can you comment why you care what people are doing?
Hit us up with a comment. If you're still a cat hag lurking around in our Facebook group and I haven't caught you yet,
which we will.
We'll get
catch
you.
Them all.
We're gonna get you. You just can't help it. It's gonna come out eventually, and it might be on this episode right here. where you no, it's okay. Okay, let me just clarify before we end our episode. If you disagree with people who breed dominant blue-eyed Maine Coons, that does not make you a cat hag. So I just want to clarify that. That's not it at all. I know that there's people that are for it and people that are against it, and both of those people are okay. That's okay. Everybody can disagree.
Yeah, we've both been there.
Yeah.
You know, we've
We've been
both
on both-
agreed with it and disagreed with
Yeah,
it.
we've been on both sides of the coin, and to some degree, I still agree with it, and I still disagree with it. It's still, in the back of my mind, in my gut, there's still a part of me that doesn't like it because it's only because of the narrative that's
Because
been
of
created
what everybody
online.
says, yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't know what everybody argued about, then I'd probably love it 100%. But there's still that part of me that is questionable because
guilty.
I feel guilty. Got that guilt because
That's what they want. They want you to
that's
feel guilty.
exactly what they want. So if when we post this in the group, and everybody is free to comment, we want you to. Don't think that I'm gonna assume anybody's a cat hag because they're for or against dominant blue eyes. Not it at all. I know that it's a topic that comes up in our group occasionally. And I see both sides. People, as long as everybody's being nice to each other and they're not being
Yeah,
a
you just need to
judgmental cat hag, and you're just,
be respectful.
yeah,
That's all.
freely stating your opinion, but not attacking somebody else for theirs, then, this is a conversation that can definitely freely be had
Yeah.
and should be, because communication and talking about it is what is really what
Changes things.
is what changes things. So, we're kind of neutral on the topic, you and I both, Marche. We're both neutral. We don't have a strong feeling about anything other than what we do is our business and not anybody else's. That's really the core belief of our entire being on Cat Breeder Sensei.
Yeah.
Is mind your business.
And that's how we run too.
That's how we roll.
You and me.
Yep, we don't care what you're doing. We don't care. We really do not care. I do not care. It is not my business. It's your business.
Yep.
And what I do is my business. And I don't want anybody in it. All right, I think we've had enough. This is officially the longest podcast episode in Cat Breeder Sensei Says history. That's how awesome this topic was and how much we had to say about it. We probably could keep talking, but we're not. We're done because this is almost an hour. People are going to have to take 2 lunch breaks to listen to this podcast episode. Anyway, we do appreciate you guys for listening. If you listen to the end, hell yeah, that's awesome. Our next trigger warning episode is going to be about healthy cats. And what is a healthy cat? And it don't sound triggering, but it is, because we're going to open it wide open. We're going to pick the scabs off of all of y'all's sores. Oh, no, I'm too much.
No, you're just enough.
This is my circus,
Just enough.
and you're my monkey.
Wow.
All right, guys. Okay, for real, though, take the poll. Oh, I got one more thing to share. Okay, this is results from a survey that I collect from ordinary people. These are website visitors, okay? These aren't anybody other than just people who are buying kittens or planning on buying a kitten. Now listen, I ask them several questions. It's really about price and stuff, because I'm always surveying people about prices to make sure that I'm in the highest price point I could possibly be. But one of the questions I ask is, what factors would make you willing to pay more for a Maine Coon kitten? And 52% of people will pay more for a Maine Coon kitten that has rare colors or patterns.
Wow.
That's all I got to say about that. So until next time, thanks for listening, and y'all make good choices out there. Okay? Bye-bye.